return, as well as some money saving apps, because tomorrow, if you see the premiere on my channel, we'll be doing a 12-month challenge. Now, that 12-month challenge is going to have you saving $250 a month. That's $250 a month. And we'll get more into that as we do this live session. But again, look out for that video tomorrow on the premiere. And also today, if you looked at one of my earlier videos, I talked about the gig economy. That was a request by one of my subscribers. The gig economy is no other than being a digital nomad or something of the like. But let's get into what to do with your tax return, because some of you are just screaming and waiting for your tax return. And guess what? I quite frankly don't want you guys to go out and just spend it on frivolous things. I don't want you guys to do that at all. I really want you to invest a lot of that money. But let me give you some ways or some places that you can actually use your 2020 or your 2019 tax return. Now, one of the cool things that you can do with your tax return, because a lot of you do not have emergency funds. A lot of you do not have emergency funds. And here's the thing. I want you to have an emergency fund. Now, the way you have an emergency fund, if you take your tax return, okay, if you take your tax return and you throw it in a high yield savings account, ladies and gentlemen, that will be a great start for your tax return. That will be an enormous great start to your tax return. If you use your 2019, that's what we're coming up on, that's what we're filing, right? On your tax return. Now, a lot of you may not do that. A lot of you might do that. Some of you already have plans for that 2019, this year's tax return. But I encourage you, if you don't have any money for an emergency, because no one knows when an emergency, that's why it's an emergency, right? It's like an accident. Nobody knows when an accident is going to happen. It's not like I plan on spilling the juice on the floor. It was an accident. No one plans to go out and get into a car wreck. It was an accident. Well, maybe some people. All right. So emergency fund. Or if you already have an emergency fund, but you may be saving for a particular event or a particular function or even a vacation, then that's another good reason. What's going on, Solo? Oh, I'm sorry, Soto. My apologies. But here's another good one that a lot of you actually need to do with that tax return. Pay off your debt. Pay off your debt. See, a lot of you would tell me that, oh, I have $10,000 to $20,000 in my savings account. And I'm like, well, if you have debt and you're paying an interest, then the interest is working against your savings. Because, okay, I'm going to do some math here. If you have a savings account, and I'm just going to go with the national average of, let's just say the national average is 0.010, something crazy like that. Let's just say 0.10, okay, percent. That is the amount that the bank is giving you of interest to save your money with that bank. Now, with my bank, which is Brio Direct, I get paid 2.10%, which is slightly, well, not slightly, it's 0.90 off the national average of inflation. Now, because your bank is saving your money with an interest rate of 0.10, but your debt is at, I'll give you a modest at 5%, right? Your car note, your home mortgage, a personal loan, and then credit card interest rate is astronomical. Okay, the only time I would tell you put things on your credit card if you know you have the money to pay it off before the billing cycle. Okay, so with that said, credit cards are anywhere from like 15% interest to like 28% interest. Now, granted, it doesn't matter if it's a house mortgage, car mortgage, personal loan, even at a personal loan at a great interest rate at 3%. Listen, the math doesn't add up, ladies and gentlemen. Pay off your debt with your tax return, because I'm looking at the savings rate. You throw it in savings, like I don't want to pay off that debt. First and foremost, 99% of you created this debt. You created this debt, and now for some strange reason, you don't want to pay it. I am telling you to pay off your debt. That way you're not losing your money. Say, I'm just going to pay the minimum monthly amount. And with this tax return, I'm going to take a vacation. I'm going to buy a car. I'm going to buy a TV. I'm going to buy. You see the problem with that? Instead of making your finances and your financial portfolio a little healthier, you would rather go spend your wealth instead of eliminate and destroy and delete something that is killing your wealth in the backdrop. So I encourage you to pay off your debt. Now, granted, if you just need to take a vacation, then let's take, for instance, you got $4,000 on your tax return, right? With that $4,000, I would encourage you to at least $2,500 pay off one of your smallest debt, okay? And that's another thing. The debt snowball. Use the debt snowball method when you're paying off your debt. That means you take the smallest loan, you take the smallest amount, and you pay it off. Now, granted, if you got $4,000 and your smallest debt is $300, they're like, well, I did what he said. No. I want you to use at least $2,500 out of the $4,000, and then you and your family go take a vacation with the remainder of it, or you may need to save a little bit more. But I want you to focus on your debt. Now, quite frankly, if you can do it, I would advise you to use all of that towards your debt. The quicker you get out of debt, the quicker you start to attain wealth, the quicker you'll be in a better financial place. And that's what you need to understand. How about this? How about fund your retirement? How about invest that money into a Roth IRA? This is a great way because we understand that those 401k accounts as well as IRAs are tax deferred depending on what method you go inside of. And this is a way, and here's another thing, just to spin off of putting that money, 401k is a great way for you to be a millionaire. Now, you have to do a deep dive, and I talked about this before when I said you should go with America's best 401k. That's just my recommendation. That you should invest in 401k, especially if it's low fees, no hidden fees, and no actively managed accounts. You can actually be a millionaire by the time you retire. Now, you also have some targeted portfolio funds. That's targeted portfolio funds where they're doing projections and estimation of your age, the amount that you are investing, as well as the national average every year of those investment accounts, and they can project how much you'll have in your savings, in your investments. So be aware of that too. 401k is a great way in order for you to become a millionaire when you're in your late 50s, early 60s, where you actually really should want to be a millionaire so you're not worried about finance. Here's the thing. A lot of times, certain investment accounts change their strategies. They change their structures. So you may want to take out your money from your 401k. Now, according to the rule of law, you only have 60 days to put it back in a tax-deferred account. If you do not, they will still, the IRS will tax it, and you may be charged a 10% fee of that amount if you take it out, if you withdraw it before 59 and a half. So be very cognizant of that. And we'll get into that a little bit later. I have some information that I need to go over. Here's another thing. You ever thought about looking to the future? What about your kids, a newborn, a toddler, even maybe a teenager? Have you started a 529 college savings plan? That's a 529 college savings plan. See, we always want to give our kids a step up. A lot of us believe that we should have them to pull themselves up by their bootstraps and work hard like we did. Well, I work hard to give my kids a better living. I work hard so they wouldn't have to work hard. I work hard to provide opportunities so they would be better off than me. But a lot of us may believe that, hey, they should work and struggle just as hard as I did because I made it and they can make it. The world is changing. Everything is changing digital. You worked a 20-year warehouse job. Now people are making money off of applications. So invest into your kids' future. And if they go into STEM, that's science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, then really support them because that's where all the jobs are going. Okay. They are replacing workers with robots. So I tell people, become an electrical engineer because you're going to go in, you're going to be the one that's checking all the equipment and all the robots. So you will always have a job. And here's another thing. And then this is just an option. If your kids are in college, maybe you want to pay off a year of their college tuition. If whether in their community college or Division I, Division II, 1A, whatever the level of college they are, college is expensive and is leaving America's youth in hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars of debt. The average debt of a college graduate is $40,000, anywhere from $40,000 to $70,000. People are graduating college with a debt from $40,000 up to like $80,000, $70,000. It is quite ridiculous. And I encourage you, if it was in your budget and you are in a good financial space, then spread a little love on your kids' account. And you don't got to pay it all off, right? But spread a little love. Here's another one. Invest your tax return in the stock market. Throughout the course of last year, I give you many of investment options and tools, right? We talked about Stash. We talked about very briefly, we talked about Acorns. But we talked about N1 Finance, which is free. Robinhood, which is free. Stash, which is low fee. They have all these different investment platforms for you to go into. Just yesterday, we talked about Wealthfront, and we also talked about Betterment. Okay, you also have Elvest and Sophie, Allied Invest, as well as the regular traditional ones. Now, the regular traditional trading platforms, that's your Merrill Lynch, your Charles Schwab, your Fidelity and Vanguard, guess what? I believe that all of them now have free commission because when Robinhood came into the game, they changed the entire platform and the structure of investing. And these guys could not compete. They say, wait a minute, Robinhood has 5 million investors who switched their accounts into Robinhood? Yes, because you was charging us anywhere from $4 to $12 a trade in commission, meaning you're working on the behalf of us on a stock market, but it doesn't really cost you any money. See, where Robinhood makes their money is through Robinhood Gold, but they keep applying different. And guess what? Now, instead of going through Coinbase, paying a fee with Coinbase for your cryptocurrencies, Robinhood has a cryptocurrency platform, which again is free. It's free. So why wouldn't I go with free that has the same security as any other investment platform? It's a no-brainer. Now, some of you may want to talk to an investor. So now those investors, like I said, your Merrill Lynch, your Charles Schwab, your Vanguard, your Fidelities, they now have free commit. You don't get charged by anything. So that's even great. Thank you, Robinhood, for changing the game. Robinhood has changed the game. Thank you so much, Robinhood. I appreciate that. Because without them suckers would have been charging us for each trade. I remember I was trading stocks with USAA. And when you first start trading, they give you 10 free trades. Okay, 10 free trades. But after that, every trade is $8.95. So $8.95. I remember at the time Ford was $12 a share. I said, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to buy a share of Ford. Okay, one stock, one share. And I was like, oh, for this transaction, it's going to cost you $8.95. I was like, $8.95? But the stock is only $12. Think about that. So it's not even advantageous to buy one stock. You will have to wait till you save this amount of money to buy that. Me and Robinhood, I don't like to have any money left over in my account. Like when I put money in there and I buy 2 or 3 of the particular stocks I'm investing in, but I have $5 left, I don't leave that $5 in there until I get another direct deposit or another allotment inside of that account. No, I go find me a high grossing or a $5 stock that's appreciating value, okay, that is doing well in the stock market. I don't want to leave any money in my cash balance. I don't want to leave any money whatsoever. How you doing, Paul Brown? Kickstart a career. What about that? Some of you Maybe wanting to move into a different field. Some of you may want to start your own business. So with your tax return, go ahead and buy you some suits. Go ahead and buy you some plumber tools. Go ahead and buy you an electrician, first apprentice, second year apprentice startup kit. Use that money to boost your career. Use that money to even start your own business. Don't just go out and spend your tax return, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully, I'm so convincing that when you get all this money, right? Because a lot of us really don't get thousands of dollars at one time. And what I mean is, your check, you may get $15,000, $2,000, $25,000, even $3,000 on one paycheck every 2 months or every month. But guess what? Half of that is going to bills. A quarter of that is going to debts. And then all that is accumulated to what? How much do I have left? Man, I got about $500 left. And then what are you going to do for that? You forgot about gas. You forgot about you need that oil change. And now you got about $300 to go play with. And guess what? You don't save none of it. And if you do, you probably save $50. Like, I'm doing real good. Like, oh yeah, I save a lot of money. $50 ain't a lot of money, bro. $50 is not a lot of money. And some of you are saying to yourself, well, I don't make a lot of money. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Even if you work at McDonald's and you have 4 roommates, I can tell you right now, you spend that money on things you absolutely do not need. You need to invest in becoming a minimalist. That means you only buy the essential things you need. And even in that mind frame, I would tell you, set a date or a day every 2 weeks, every month, but every 2 weeks. Don't go every week, but every 2 weeks to a month, where you're going to spend $25 or $50 like, oh, I just love this ice cream. Or I just love going to the movies. And you set that amount, how much you're going to spend. So you have predictability in your finances. And a little bit later here, we're going to go over some savings apps. We're going to go over some budgeting apps because, again, tomorrow when the video premieres, the video will premiere, I will be on, but it's already pre-recorded about the 52-week savings challenge, where I'm challenging you guys to save $250 a month, which equals $3,000 a year. Only $3,000. And some of you probably think right now, $250 a month. Well, I got this going on. I got the golf tournament. I got to go to the bowling. I'm going to Vegas. Listen, I want you to look at your bank account, and I want you to look at your finances, and I want you to shake your head. And I want you to look inside the black hole that you call your savings account. It's a crying shame. It's a deep, dark hole that you're setting yourself into. This is what you need to do with your tax return. How about this? How about pay an extra or 2 months on your mortgage? You ever thought about that? How about prepay your mortgage? Because we understand that anytime if you call in and you set it up, and some of these are automatic, when you pay extra money on your mortgage, it directly goes to the principal, which again knocks off the interest, again, which knocks off time of you paying that loan. The more you pay over the amount that's set, so take for instance, you're paying $1,500 for your mortgage. That was a set amount, including with the interest, right at 3 to 5%. But if you pay $2,000, that extra $500 will be applied to the interest and will slowly but surely knock off the time that you'll be paying in that loan. So if it's 30 years, you may only be paying that mortgage for 25 years because you've been paying an extra $500 every month for the past 15 years. Now, quite frankly, we talk about mortgages. If you can swing it, you should be doing a 15-year mortgage. And I'm going to tell you how important that is. You can chop that amount that you'll own that house in half. Think about it like this. If you are 40 years old, you will own your house by the age of 55. Think about that. If you are 30 years old, you will own your house by the age of 45. And so on and so forth, right? So take, for instance, most people around the age of 25 and 35 buy a house. So by the age of 40, if you're 25, you would have bought and had your first house while everybody else is behind the power curve. You ever thought about that? Okay, you just think about that. But most people, they look at the payment, they're like, oh, well, I don't want to be paying out a month amount. I just go a 30-year fix. Hold up. It was an extra $300-400, and it stopped you from the bowling tournament that you pay $150 for, or the tennis racket club, right, or the golf club. Then it's worth it. You will own your own house by the age of 40. You ever thought about that? Just think about that, because 30 years is a long time for you to be paying on a house. Now, some of you are saying, well, Ross World, I'm only going to stay in this house for 3 to 5 years. Well, if that's the case, then still go with the 15-year mortgage, because the amount of equity that you'll build up in that house will be a much greater amount. And then you can do a couple of things with that. Your house will be worth more. Now, depending on the neighborhood, there's a lot of other variables that goes inside of that, but your house will be worth more, one. And two, if you ever wanted to buy another house, you can go inside the equity of the first house and use it as a down payment, or even pay off a portion of the house with that equity. You'll have to look into that. I've done plenty of videos about that. Unfortunately, I have so many videos, you'd have to go on one of my playlists to actually look at that. How about this? How about make home improvements? How about increase the value of your home with your 2020 tax return or your 2019 tax return? How about that? Right? You always wanted to get the kitchen redone, right? And I'm telling you things that's going to help increase the value of your home. You always wanted to get the kitchen done. The cabinets need to be refreshed with a new coat of paint, or you wanted to stain your cabinets, or you want new cabinet hinges and knobs to change the look of it. You want to change the faucet. You want to upgrade the garbage disposal, whatever it may be. These are options you can do with your tax return instead of blowing it on things that you actually don't need. What about upgrading your bathrooms? You might have an old bathroom with all the little towels are real small. All right, and all your grout looks dirty and it looks brown. You're like, I think that grout was white when we bought that, right, babe? Well, when we bought the house, it was already that color. That right, this is a used house. That's right, babe. What about just getting those big, huge slab of tile that has a more a better can't even say the word. Excuse me, luxurious look to it. Okay, because and then instead of getting an inch grout line, you can get a half an inch grout line. So it almost looks seamless. Instead of that plastic implant, okay, that plastic grooming that they put inside the shower, that shower fixture that's plastic. What about have someone to take that out and make that all beautiful tile? What about doing a backdrop in your kitchen? What about LED lights under your cabinets? Okay, these are all great ideas that would improve and increase the appreciation of your home. These are great upgrades that you can do that will actually help your asset, which is your home. But right now, if you're still paying a mortgage, guess what it is? It's a liability. What about buying life insurance with your 2019 tax return? What about life insurance? Is that a good idea? Because we never know when we're going to go. And I'm not trying to scare anyone here, and I'm not trying to be morbid by any sense. I could die live right now. I can die when I get off. But do I have my life insurance set up for my significant other or my children or my child? Do you have that set up? These are things that you actually need to think about. Do you have a will? Do you have a trust? But do you have life insurance? Who's going to pay for all those bills that happens when someone dies, burial or cremation, the casket, the service, the wake, the funeral, all those things? Who's paying for that? Did you set yourself up for success? Because unfortunately, we all have to die, but none of us plan for it. We plan for everything else. But we don't plan if we die. Think about that. I really want you to think about that, ladies and gentlemen, because that's very, very important. Okay? So I'm going to read some of your comments here. Have a bit annoying you guys. I'm just gonna call you Pick. Pickle Killer. I'm just gonna call you Pick. We should also try to make our tax return as close to zero as possible, right? Francesca said I have clients getting back $1,000 and they're talking about buying furniture. Now, when you talk about buying furniture, it's simply, if you need a new couch because half of it's on the ground, the other half is up, then yeah, maybe you need a new couch. But a lot of us don't need new couches. You know what you need? It will cost you a quarter of the price or even half of the price to get your furniture reupholstery, right? Get someone to come in, restuff it, or get someone to come in and clean the fabric. Like I know me, I have off-white couches. If you see some of my pre-recorded videos, when I go back in one of my bedrooms, you'll see off-white couches. I have to have people to come in and clean those. Now, somebody else like, oh, these are dirty and dingy, so let me go ahead and replace these. Some people like, oh, I have to replace the couches every 5 years. No, you might have to replace the upholstery, but you don't need to replace the entire couch. Okay, there just needs some small upgrades. Now, Pick, you said we should bring our tax return closer to zero. I agree with that because you can use your money throughout the year in better ways. Now, I'm gonna be true. And everybody knows I'm a walking contradiction. What you're talking about, Pick Killer, is exactly what people should do to use that money and maximize their investments and maximize their savings throughout the year. But for myself, I don't do that. And sometimes I even add to pay more taxes, right? So I get more back because I reward myself with a vacation or two every year. Like, brother, work hard, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to go here, I'm going to go there, and I'm going to spend. And that's what I use my tax return for, because when you don't have that much debt, or you have manageable debt, or you have zero debt, I use it as a kind of a yearly bonus to myself, and I have a great time because I believe that everybody, if you have a job, if you're working, or you're a stay-at-home mom, you're a stay-at-home dad, taking care of children, you take care of them children, you need a vacation. And I don't mean with them, because a lot of us, we love to take our kids a vacation. Let me tell you something. Sometimes you take your kids a vacation, and sometimes you leave their butts at home, okay? You leave them at home. You get your mother-in-law, your father-in-law, your mother, your father, a cousin, an aunt. You get somebody trustworthy to watch your kids, and you and your significant other, or you by yourself, go somewhere beautiful with good food, a good book, or activities to decompress. That's just my advice. What's going on, Wayne Peterson? Oh, thanks for well, you're welcome for the gig economy video. If I say I'm going to do something, gosh darn, I'm going to do it. And if I say that I'm thinking about doing it, then it's up in the air. All right, moving right along, guys. Now, majority of this video, we've been talking about what to do with your 2019 tax return. But I also have a video premiering tomorrow about a 12-month challenge. Now, granted, I always tell people that the first most important thing when it comes to your finance is a budget, okay? If whether you do the 52-week or the 12-month challenge to save up $3,000 for this year or not, we're going to go over some budgeting apps that I found that will be quite helpful for you. And one of them I've used for a very long time. I don't really use it no more. I kind of just use a spreadsheet. But I'm trying to move into more digital age where I might use another app, okay? But I'm going to change my screens here so you can see exactly what I am. I'm going to read to you, okay? I love reading to you guys. Sometimes I jumble up my words, my lips get in the way, but that's just my personal problems in life. All right. As you can tell, this is coming from the National Debt Relief, okay? nationaldebtrelief.com, okay? And so let's go right into it. Mint, one of my favorite ones. If you use TurboTax, they're also intertwined. They're also, what's the word I'm looking for? They are integrated with each other. TurboTax as well as Mint, because they're from the same company. I'm gonna butcher the name. I believe the company is called Intuit. Okay, Intuit. So I'm just gonna read a little bit here and give you guys a small synopsis of it. It says Mint has been around a long time and is a very well-known budgeting app. It's very easy to use and can sync to your bank account to gather the details necessary to help you create a personalized budget. Mint was created by Intuit, the same company that created QuickBooks and TurboTax, okay? Moving right along, Pocket Guard. Pocket Guard is an app that focuses on helping you manage your spending. It helps you to manage your spending because some of you spend too much, okay? Some of you spend too much. It also links to all your financial accounts and gives you excellent visibility into your financial picture. Pocket Guide is one of the easiest apps to set up and does an excellent job of tracking your income, your savings, and bills throughout the month. A lot of us need this. Number 3. Now, these are free apps, but they may have some paid options, okay? They may have some in-app fees. I know I used to use You Need a Budget, or AKA YNAB. I didn't really like it. I didn't like the setup, but it had a lot of tools. It had a lot of options. Maybe this is the one for you. You Need a Budget is a hip, culturally current app that has developed a big following among young professionals, utilizing money management tools that are different from traditional budgeting tools. You Need a Budget takes a different approach to managing your money. Instead of focusing on the more common methods of categorizing your money and expenditures, the app focuses on 4 simple rules. Number 4, Wally. I remember doing a video on this. Wally focuses solely on budgeting, which for some is all they need. While Wally is basic in its offering, it does a good job of tracking your income, expenses, and your remaining discretionary income. Wally is a completely free app and does an excellent job of tracking your expenses by allowing you to enter them manually or snap a picture of your receipt. Wally also offers alerts when your bills are due, when you reach certain milestones such as savings goal or any other activity you want to keep track of. Wally is an actual good app. If you notice, it is free and it actually tracks your spending and your expenses and your savings goal. Good Budget. Good Budget, formerly known as Easy Envelope Budget Aid, uses a traditional envelope approach to budgeting but on a digital platform. Now, if any of you guys and girls are familiar with the envelope system, where you take a series of envelopes and you label them for different expenses as well as savings and investing, and you put the money in there either physically or you put sort of a note in there. That way you are creating your budget on the fly, and every dollar has a home. Every dollar has a home. You just don't have money sit in your account that's not doing anything. Let your money work for you. AKA, my money makes money. Good Budget is very good for couples looking to manage their finances together. The app provides complete visibility across all platforms and devices in real time, so both parties can see where all the money is and where it is going. Okay? Simple. Simple is not just an app for managing your budget. It's also a bank account that can take the place of your traditional checking account, so there's seamless interaction between your banking transaction and your budget. Simple offers many great features such as Save to Spend feature, which lets you know if the budget is on track and whether you're free to make an additional purchase. Now, some of you probably need this, right? I'm going to read that again. Save to Spend feature, okay, which lets you know if your budget is on track and whether you're free to make an additional purchase or not. The savings goal feature keeps you motivated to keep saving through through continual encouragement. Number 7, Budget. While Budget is only for the iPhone, it's a great little app with a lot to offer. Budget makes it easy to add your income and any recurring expenses to get you started on budgeting. The app has a focus on daily budget management, giving you a real-time status on where you stand with your money. This helps you make better decisions and curtail unnecessary spending and impulse buys. By being able to view daily status, you can determine whether the money you're considering spending is in keeping with your budget goals or not. The app can also give you cash flow projections at points in the future. Envelopes, okay, is a digital envelope budgeting method app that can help you gain better control over your money. Envelopes has been around for quite some time compared to some of the other similar apps. Because of its longevity, the app's developer has been able to improve it into a very robust tool that has many features for all level of budgeting expertise. There's no excuse why you shouldn't be budgeting or you don't have a budget. Right here, right now, you see free with low fee budgeting apps. Number 9, Unsplurge. Not splurge, Unsplurge. Unsplurge is a fun app that's completely different from other budgeting apps. It's not meant to be a total budget management tool, but rather one that helps your budget and save up for a specific item or event. It's a fun app to use when trying to save for a new car, a down payment on a house, vacation, or a wedding. Okay. So that are 9 choices for you to go to, for you to utilize. Okay, hold up. Having issues. Why can't I switch? Every time I get on the road, guys. All right, there I go. So those were 9 budgeting apps that you can use, right? Mint, they had it at number 1, but it really doesn't matter. You have to go. My thing is, I'll read this and I'll look at a couple of them. And I'm like, well, I kind of like this one, and this one. So I download all of them. Like, take an hour, right? What's an hour to your finances? What's an hour to the rest of your life? It's nothing. You'll sit down and you'll watch a television show for an hour. You'll sit down and watch a movie for an hour and a half, 2 hours. This is for your financial portfolio. This is for your financial health. This is for your financial freedom and peace. So you take an hour, you download 4 apps, you integrate all your accounts, your bank account, your credit card account, your investment account, whatever you can add up to it. That way you can reach your savings goal. That way you'll know how much money you have coming in and how much money you have coming out. Now, let's see here. Victor Ramirez says, hey, Ralph's World, you mentioned a Roth IRA and a 401k. If you had a limited budget in your late 20s and you can only pick one, would you suggest investing into a Roth IRA or a 401k? It depends. All right, I'm done. No, I'm kidding. It depends, right? It depends on if your 401k, if you're doing it solo or with your organization. Now, if you're doing it with your organization and they're matching your 401k and they have low fees, like meaning that the 401k company that they're using mostly invests in ETFs and index funds, then that may be more profitable than a IRA, because we know that IRA is you putting money in. I forgot the exact amounts, but I believe it's $5,500 a year and it's $6,500 to catch up after 50. So roughly, I would rather go with the 401k with the low fees, right, rather than the IRA, because, like, take for instance, if your company is matching you at 5%. And like America's Best 401k that I gave out the other day, America's Best 401k is only charging you 0.08%, right? For majority of their 401k accounts. Right. But they don't have anything over 1%. They don't have any hidden fees. So you have to do a deep dive inside your company's 401k offering. First of all, what are the fees? What are the fees of the 401k with your organization? Or if you go to a separate entity, like America's Best 401k, and again, I'm not a representative. I don't have any affiliation with them. They're just one of the best that I've done research on. So that's why I actually give that advice. I wish they would give a brother some kickback, make a little extra money on the side. But anyway, that is probably something that you need to look into to see about those fees. Now, if they're low fees and your organization is matching, then I will go with a 401k. Now, if your organization or you're self-employed and not offering anything, then I will go with a Roth IRA, and I would try to match contribute throughout the year. I mean, fully match contribute, meaning that you want to maximize your contribution up to $5,500 or $5,000, whatever the case may be. I may be all 500 here or there, but I believe it's $5,500 if you're under the age of 50, right? So you want to maximize that Roth IRA. Now, granted, the reason why we're talking about Roth IRAs versus traditional IRAs, we understand that Roth IRAs get taxed. They get pre-taxed as the money is being deposited inside of the account, whereas traditional IRAs are taxed when you draw out the money. See, here's the thing. I don't want a traditional IRA account because if I'm 59 and a half, I'm 62, and I see the amount of money I have in my account, but as I'm withdrawing from my traditional IRA, I'm being taxed. Now, granted, some people do both because they believe, just like Trump did these tax cuts. Was it 2 years ago he did these tax cuts? But they actually, he did tax cuts in 2017, but in 2018 they kicked in. And the middle class, we got a lower tax return. But the higher and upper classes, they had tax benefits, all right, and tax deductions. So with that, they came up with the fat rat if some of them were actually taking money out of their retirement accounts because if they had traditional. So some people may do a hybrid, they do a series of both. Now, granted, over the course of time, statistics shows us that taxes go up and up every year. I mean, right now I live in Washington State, and the state tax is 10% or 10.1%. It wasn't that 5 years ago. And they don't have state tax, so they tax you on everything else, sales tax, you name it. You're walking down the street, tax, local tax, you name it. Take for another state like Texas, okay? And here's another thing. Sometimes you go in different areas in the state, they have different sales tax, okay? Different sales tax. I was in one part of Washington, it was 9.9. I went to another part of Washington, it was 10.1. But take, for instance, a place like Texas, their sales tax is 8.25%. That's high for Texas. Was it that 5 years ago? No, it was not. So when you ask me, Victor Ramirez, which one you should go with, do a deep dive and look into the 401k. First, if your employer matches the contribution up to a certain amount and the company they're using has little or no fees and no hidden costs and no hidden fees, or if you don't have that or they don't offer a 401k, you go into a Roth IRA. And there's many, if you just Google Roth IRA, you will come up with all sorts of different investment platforms. You can simply just do a search, say best Roth IRA, and it will come with plenty of them. Okay? All right, guys. If you don't have any more information, hopefully I've convinced you guys to use your tax return in the 12 ways that I told you about, other than just going out, splurging, and partying, and buying furniture, and buying rims, and buying cars. Hopefully you use it for something totally different. And for you guys who just chimed in, please rewind the video and watch it. And for you guys who's been with me from the start of the video, please rewind it and watch it again, because I know you've already forgot. This is Financial Literacy 101. Learn money and be inspired. Never mind. I'm out.